Welcome back to another video, everybody. Hopefully everybody is having an awesome day today. Now today we are finally going to be installing a manifold riser on my 2013 Genesis Coupe 3.8. Now judging from the comments, you guys are really excited for this install, and I myself am super excited for this install. So before we hop into the install, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the box and everything that comes with the manifold riser. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. All right, everybody, here's the box the manifold riser came in, and now here's everything that came with it. First off, you got the riser itself right here, still all wrapped up and everything. Then you got the gasket, then you got the bolts, and then of course, last but not least, you got the 3.8 performance sticker. And once again, huge shout out to 3.8 performance for this manifold riser. But yeah, that's really all there is that comes with it. Let's go ahead and jump right into the install. All right, so here's all the tools that we're gonna need, I think anyway. All you need is a 10mm socket, 10mm wrench, vice grips, and a 6mm Allen key. All right, so the first thing you're gonna want to do is pop the engine cover off. So now what we need to do is go ahead and disconnect this hose right here. So we just got this clamp right here and this clamp right here, and then it should be free. That side's off.
Definitely here you want to be easy after taking this clamp off and like disconnecting the hose, because these are plastic. This part right here, this nipple's plastic. So you just want to gently grab onto it and kind of twist and try and break that rubber loose a little bit.
There we go, that side's off now. All right, so the next thing you want to do is you want to unplug this sensor right here from your intake.
There it goes.
There's that. The next thing you want to do is you want to undo this clamp right here from your intake so you can move the intake out of the way. You don't need to take it off all the way, the intake that is. You can kind of just move it out of the way.
Yeah, we are going to have to disconnect this. We don't have enough play.
Okay. All right, so we're actually going to need to take this hose off right here to get the intake off. That just slides right off like so. Now the intake should just come right out of the way. Now, yeah, we can just turn it, set it out the way like so. All right, so the next thing you want to do is you want to unplug this connector right here, like so. Then unplug this one right here.
And then next, what you'll do is this evap solenoid right here. You just take this clamp and do the same thing. And then this hose right here.
I'll just slide right off.
Should.
Yeah.
Break it loose. Oh, there we go. And then next, you'll go back here to the back of the manifold and disconnect the brake boost line. And same thing, just take that clamp off. There we go. Next, you will take off this the wire harness connector. I don't know exactly what you would call that.
Slides off just like that. All right, so the next thing you want to do is take these 3 bolts off right here on the back left side of the manifold.
Take that off.
That pops out the way.
And next you'll disconnect this bolt right here for the PCB valve. And it should just, there we go.
All right, so next up we're gonna take this bolt off right here, and by doing that we can leave the throttle body on whenever we take the upper piece of the manifold off. All right, then that should just sit on right out the way. So next up, we're gonna remove these coolant hoses right here. And this is definitely better to do when your engine is cold rather than hot.
Just doing a little bit of prep work here, getting some paper towels in here. You don't want any of this coolant dripping down on any of the other hoses or your heat sink down there.
It's definitely gonna drip out.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna drip out just a little bit because there is pressure still built up in here. All right, and after you got your prep work done, you just wanna take these clamps off like you have on the other hoses. This line right here that comes off of the throttle body is actually kind of long, so you wanna get this clamp pretty far down.
All the way out the way.
Oh, you hear it?
Yeah. All right, and just like that, it comes off. And it looks like if you take it pretty slow, barely any coolant will leak out, if any at all, honestly. Next, we just got to get this tube over here, and then we're good to go over here. There we go, finally came off. That one's pretty hard to get off, I'm not gonna lie.
That one was a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Once you get that done, you can just go ahead and start taking these 4 bolts off. These top 4 bolts are 10mm, and then these bottom bolts are 12mm.
So we're gonna go ahead and get these top 4 off. There's 2, third one down. Next up is these bolts down here on the bottom. These are the 12mm. All right, so this thing should just kind of pull out of the way, and then it should just unscrew. Simple as that. That one's out. There's that one out. And then the last 2 are down here right under this black thing. They're pretty hard to get to, I'm not gonna lie. You kind of just gotta move it out of the way and go for it. After you get all these bolts off over here to the upper manifold, it should be loose now. You should be able to wobble it around a little bit.
And next, just to get this thing out of the way a little bit, you want to disconnect this 10mm bolt right here to get this wire loom out of the way a little bit more for you.
That should just slide right out of the way. Well, kind of out of the way then.
Next, you want to disconnect these connectors right here in front of the manifold. Well, if yours are easier, might not take as much.
Yeah, none of this stuff has ever been disconnected.
And these are color coded. These are color coded, so you know you're not gonna get it mixed up.
All right, now that we've gotten everything disconnected, this upper piece of the manifold should just lift right off. Hold that out the way, try to. There we go.
Oh, got a connector stuck.
Simple as that. There's definitely going to be a little bit of oil on it, even if you do have a catch can, I'm pretty sure. So make sure you clean this thing off pretty good before you put it back on. All right, so the next thing you're going to want to do is take the gasket off that comes on here. But before we do that, I'm going to stuff some paper towels down in here just to be sure nothing gets inside these holes here, because that would not be good at all. Your gasket should just pop right off. Mine, like I said, has probably never ever been touched before, so it's kind of stuck on here, but it should just pry right off pretty much.
I'm trying to do it as easy as possible so I don't bend it.
Right, yeah, it's metal, it's not plastic. And it's basically off now. And now we just got to wipe it down, and then that's pretty much it for taking everything apart. We just need to put the riser on and we're good to go. One thing I just wanted to mention real quick is you do need 2 gaskets for this. So you got the one that comes on the car, and then whenever you're ordering the manifold riser, you should order an extra gasket with it, because you do need 2.
So next we're gonna have to take these 2 studs out right here so that we can get the new bolts in there. And your studs might be a little gummed up or whatever, so you'll need a mallet or a hammer of some sort just to tap them a little bit and get them loose. And then we're gonna use the 2-nut method, where you take one of your nuts upside down. You wanna tighten that down as far as it'll go. And then you wanna put the other one hat side facing that one.
Hat to hat, basically.
Yeah, hat to hat. You should be able to
unscrew the bottom one, and it should just unscrew with the whole stud. All right, so we've been attempting the 2-nut method for probably like 15 minutes now, and it's not working for us. I don't ever plan on going back to stock, because stock's slower, and why would you want that? So we're just gonna manhandle these out, and that just means we won't be able to use them again. But like I said, I don't plan on going back to stock, so I'll let you guys know once we get these things out. All right, we finally got one of them out, and as you can see, we had to kind of manhandle it. It's definitely probably not gonna go back in there, but it's okay. So we're gonna go ahead and get the second one out, and then I'll get back to you guys. All right, and just like so, we got the second stud out, and as you can tell, this one's definitely not ever gonna go back in there as well, but it's okay. So now let's go ahead and start installing this thing. All right, so we just finished getting this thing all cleaned up, took the paper towels out, so now it's time to put the gasket on here. We're gonna go ahead and put the gasket that we took off back on here. Should just line up like so. All right, next up, it's finally time to put the manifold riser on. So that just sits right on top of the gasket. Only goes on one way. Now you gotta make sure that the gasket stays lined up. This can be kind of hard from what I've heard, but it should be pretty easy. Might just take some time. Next, you just set your new gasket on top of the riser. Just like so, make sure it's all lined up nice and right. All right, so now it's time to stick the upper manifold back on. I can hold this up if you need me to. It's probably gonna be a lot easier with more than one set of hands.
be nice to have a couple.
Yeah, we got to make sure that we put this on very, very gently, because we cannot unalign that. All right, so now that we've got this on, before we start screwing anything down, we're just going to make sure one more time that everything's lined up, and then we'll get to screwing everything in.
All right, so in the packaging, it comes with 6 smaller bolts that'll go around manifold and like bolt down the manifold riser. First, you want to start out by putting one in the front, and you'll know that if your gasket's lined up right is if it drops down in there like that. And then you want to put one in the very back over here.
The order you go in doesn't necessarily matter for sure, but like we're just doing it like this just to be safe. Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, it lines it up a little bit better.
Yeah. Snugs everything right up. And these bolts, you really don't want to put them too tight. Hand tight, or maybe tight by a T-handle or something like that. A socket is probably your best bet. You really don't want to torque these down too tight, because this is aluminum. You'll bust it up if you do it.
So once you get these bolts here finger tightened down, you want to go back with a ratchet or a T-handle or something like that. Kind of tighten them down a little bit. You just want to snug them up and go through a couple of times, because when you tighten like this side down, this side over here will like start to get loose. So do about 2 or 3 pass-bys. Just make sure everything's tightened down.
All right, now that we got these 6 small ones down here, we're gonna go ahead and put these 2 big ones in. 1 and 2.
But yeah, you just want to get these nice and tightened down. It is going to create some threads down there. Just make sure you get your lock washers nice and flattened down.
But like I said, you don't want to do it too tight, because all this is aluminum and you can destroy it pretty easily. There we go. Nice and tight. All right, now that we have everything nice and tight, we're going to go ahead and start plugging all our connectors back in. All right, so I'm pretty sure we just finished getting everything plugged back in and tightened up. We're gonna go ahead and start the car up, make sure it idles fine and everything, make sure no coolant leaks, and then we should be good to go. All right, now for the moment of truth. Oh yeah, I think we're all good. No coolant leaking or anything. Now, I'm pretty sure the reason you can hear a slight ticking sound is because we no longer have the engine cover on, because before I could always hear a very, very faint ticking sound whenever I would start my car and drive and everything. But now that we have the engine cover off and there's no more sound deadening foam and this just big old engine cover on there to weigh it down and keep it from making all the noise, I think the ticking sound is a little bit more prevalent, but no check engine lights, no nothing wrong. So we're gonna go ahead and take it for a spin and see how it feels. Alright everybody, I've been driving around with the riser installed for quite some time now, and all I gotta say so far is damn dude, like you can definitely notice a difference. Whenever you floor it in the mid-range, it actually takes off, and it's just sick. It's kind of hard to explain the feeling that it gives you unless you got it installed on your car. Like it just makes it pull so much harder in the mid-range. Like it's really sick, and so far this mod is awesome, man. Now I'm gonna drive around on this thing for a few more days before I give you guys a full detailed review on it, and if I think it's worth the money that it costs, which so far honestly I definitely think it is worth the money that it costs, because you can definitely notice a difference. It just makes your car pull so much harder. And once again, huge shout out to 3.8 Performance for this manifold riser. I'm gonna leave the link down below if you guys want to pick one up for yourself. But really, that is going to wrap it up for this video, everybody. I just wanted to show you guys how to install a manifold riser on your Genesis Coupe, and as you guys saw, it was actually pretty easy. This was by far the most complicated thing I've ever installed, and all I gotta say is if you can install an intake, you can definitely install a manifold riser. If you got an extra set of hands, it's really a super easy job. I mean, it takes a little bit of time because you got to do a lot of unplugging and plugging things in. It took us probably close to an hour and a half, 2 hours, but besides how much time it takes, it's really super easy, and I definitely think that anybody who's been looking at one of these should go ahead and pick one up for themselves, because you will love it. But like I said, that is really going to wrap it up for this one, everybody. If you guys enjoyed this one, do not forget to drop a like and subscribe. Peace out. I will see you guys in the next one.